another thing about the live-action Attack on Titan movie. It turns out that whole subtitle that they had in the part 2 of End of the World. Well, fuck that. It turns out at the end of the movie, it turns out that the reason spoilers. The reason why it's called that is not because it's literally the end of the world, but actually because it's the end of their world, so to speak, because it turns out that they're at the end of it, like the literal end, like kind of like at the end of at the end of the Truman Show movie, you know, they're at the end of it, and they're getting out of that world into this brave new one with seagulls and oceans and shit. I'm sorry, guys. I know you're expecting a review on something else, but I just wanted to get out my final thoughts about the previous movie I did, because I spent so much money on it with the thing, you know, to watch it and whatnot. A lot of time and resources on doing that, so I just want to get out all my money's worth by reviewing it as much as possible. And I forgot a few things during my actual review, so I'm just trying to get it out of my system now. But now I think I'm done. I think I'm good now. Now we can move on to the movie that you came here for, which is, and another thing about Attack on Titan, the live-action movie. Remember Lionheart? That hot blonde girl, the badass blonde girl who was sort of emo acting in the anime. Remember her, the badass blonde lady who turned out to be one of the Titans? Spoiler alert, more. Although that one was a given, considering that she looks exactly like her Titan, and it was a mystery. But anyway, the reason why I bring her up is because she's a huge staple in the anime, but then when you watch the live-action Attack on Titan movie, she's not in it. And I kept trying to figure out why she was not in either of the two-parters for that movie. And then I realized, wait a minute, it's because they replaced her with that Mustachio Man. Yes, that Mustachio Man was meant to be in the place of her. That's why he turned into a Titan, and that's why he was beating the shit out of Eren. That's why. He was basically taking over her role. And he might have also taken over Levi's role too. So way to go! Two beloved Attack on Titan characters mashed into one character that was a fucking asshole who liked to have sex with apples. Okay, now I'm done with Attack on Titan. Yes, I'm done talking about apple fucking, and now I am moving on to octopus fucking. Yes, and by that I mean Spectre. Yes, Spectre. That is the movie that we are going to review today on Gravitalk, the show where supervillains come together right now over movies. Yes, they come together for movies and talk about them, because, you know, we don't just, you know, we're not just, you know, we don't just like to blow shit up and fight superheroes and, you know, beat the shit out of each other. We also like to review movies. And with me, I have a good friend of the show that will help me with this one. He's had a lot of experience with this, from what I understand. Very, very interesting that he said that. Ladies and gentlemen, the octopus. Yes, very appropriate that I got him here. Yes, because, you know, octopuses have a large role in this movie, I should say. Isn't that right, octopus? Yes. You're right, although I'm a little concerned about what you said earlier about octopus fucking. Sorry, I didn't mean you, octopus. I meant octopuses in the movie, but I'm getting ahead of myself on that, yes. Man, a lot of people who haven't seen this movie yet and are watching this first are probably like, oh my god, what the fuck? James Bond has sex with octopuses? We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm gonna explain that, okay? But first, I just want to acknowledge that, hey, octopus, I see that you're still wearing that outfit that you wore in our last review. So have you been wearing this ever since? Because I know that you like to switch from costume to costume. I decided to, to just, I've decided that, I switch outfits so often, all the time, that I decided, you know what? I should just stick to one, every now and then, every couple months, I should just stick to one outfit, and then once I'm done with that outfit, I'm gonna replace it. So, hey, so does that mean you've been wearing this non-stop, like even in the shower and stuff? Yep. That's gross. It's probably got like all molds and moldy and shit. That's okay, because I've decided that for this occasion, that, since we're about to review this special movie, I've decided that I'm gonna change it up again. And I'm gonna pick out a new outfit just for this review. Well, it's not exactly new. I've worn this before, and this particular movie has brought back some fond memories of mine. So I decided that I should wear the outfit that emulates those memories, and here it is. Huh? Really? That's your outfit that reminds you about this movie? Well, it reminds me about the spirit of this movie, somehow. I'm not really sure how, but it does. It's almost like another one of those past lives I've been talking to you about. One of those past lives is coming back to me. Remember I told you about that when we reviewed the Jurassic World movie? Yes, I do recall. You recalled one of your past lives. Does that mean that one of your past lives is involved with this movie? No, not exactly. The memory that it evokes isn't exactly like directly tied into this movie. More on the lines that it's more like memories of like an homage to it, my memories are almost, not exactly like this. They're like homaging it in a way, almost like a parody, but a flattering parody. A flattering homage to it. Maybe not exactly what we're watching, what we're reviewing today, but what this came from is what it's homaging. Huh, very interesting. But I'm not Sigmund Freud. Really? You kind of look like him. I've been told that. But anyway, but no, that's, but yes, but, now that we're done talking about your psychologicalness, let's move on to talking about the movie. And I probably just spoiled Attack on Titan for a lot of people, in the cold opening of this review, but, keep in mind, you probably can't see that anyway, because it's not in theaters anymore, so, sorry, I just had to get that out of my system and stuff, so, yes. So, but to be fair, I did say spoilers alert in the description. I always put that there. Yeah, but they probably didn't realize which movie you were spoiling. Stop bringing logic into this. Anyway, yes. So yes. So what we do here on the program is review the latest big-ass blockbusters to be hastily splattered across the silver screen. And, the latest one now is, Spectre. Ooh, it's a spooky ghost movie. Oh, no, wait, it's a James Bond movie. Yes, we finally get to review James Bond on the program. I know that's a more popular one, but I much prefer the one that's like do 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 do. Okay, I went way too long with that. But anyway, yes. Yes, so we finally get to review a James Bond movie. And of course, we are currently in the Daniel Craig era. There's many eras. There's the there's the Sean Connery era, and then there's the what's his face era, and then there's the what's his other face era, and then there's possibly another what's his face era. And then there's the Pierce Brosnan era, and now the Daniel Craig era. This is the one that we are in currently. Yes, and this is the fourth installment in that era. And, so So let's talk about a brief recap about the previous movies. Okay, not too brief recap because we want to, get this shit over with. So yes. So, do you recall the other films? Yes, I do. I recall the first one in this era, which was Casino Royale. Yes, Casino Royale, the movie about the most dramatic, most dangerous game of poker ever, or whatever the hell they were playing. Blackjacks? I'm not a cards guy, but a playing cards guy. But anyway, yes. So it was the most dangerous game because, the movie was centered around him playing, a game of cards, and then every now and then he would take a break from those cards so he could get into dangerous situations during the breaks, like killing people and almost dying of heart attacks. And then the naked lady from 302 and Sin City 2 died. Spoiler alert for that movie, but wait a minute, you're coming here for spoilers for this movie, so what the hell? But anyway, yes, so the naked chick from those two Frank Miller adaptation sequels died, and then we move on to the second one. Ah, yes, Quantum of Solace. Yes, and in that one, this was the movie where James Bond took revenge for her dying, where he wanted to get to the bottom of it. Who was the man behind all this bullshit that was in the first movie? And it was a very disappointing answer. Like, oh, it's some little wormy asshole guy. Oh, well, screw you there, I did it. Now I can stop caring about the naked chick from those two movies. And now, although she's not naked in the James Bond movies, but anyway, yes, so now that I've stopped caring, I can move on to the third movie. And that movie was Skyfall. Yes, Skyfall. I know everyone likes to sing the song, and I know I'm known for singing songs, although I'm not known for it. But yeah, I'm just gonna skip it. Because you already know how that song goes. It's the I'm not gonna do it. So anyway, yes. So that's the movie where James Bond is like, oh shit, what do I do now that I have already avenged my love interest from the first movie? What the fuck do I do now? Oh, I know. I'm gonna protect my boss from some asshole who used to be a part of the agency until he went cuckoo bananas, and apparently he lost his air tank, and so I threw a knife at him, and that was that. So yes, so that was the third James Bond movie, and of course this one was very much not third James Bond movie overall, but you know what I mean, third for this era. And so it ended with and so that movie went out with a bang, and a lot of people thought, oh yay, that was a great way to end the series. It had a lot of homages, it introduced a lot of classic James Bond supporting characters that we did not have previously, finally introduced, and so we thought, okay, that's great. All right then, okie dokie. However, the thing was, you can't just after all these movies in this era, only now are you beginning to introduce a lot of familiar stuff to the James Bond lore. You can't just do that and then end it right there. No, you need at least one more movie, okay? So this was warranted. So yes, this is the fourth installment of the Daniel Craig era of James Bond films. And so let's begin the review by the beginning of the movie, which was the classic James Bond sequence where he's being followed by a little circle, and the circle's like, hey James Bond, I want to have sex with you just like everyone else gets to have sex with you. And then James Bond is like, no, screw you, circle, I am going to shoot you. Oh, poor circle. So anyway, that's the beginning of the movie, and it already gives us a sense, like, if you thought that the third one was, a movie that brought us into a sense of the classic feeling of the previous films, then you should, then get ready for a movie that even more does that. Yeah, in more ways than we expected. Yes, and in more ways that maybe not everyone would agree with, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully, Hopefully James Bond won't be shot off that bridge, but anyway, yes, so we begin with the Day of the Dead celebration. Oh, did they know that this movie would be coming out on that day? I mean, usually, James Bond owns November. That's usually when he comes out. Not out of the closet, but out into the theaters, is during November. And so I guess they were like, hey, let's take advantage of the fact that this movie is being released on the first week of November by having it take place on the Day of the Dead. So we got this long Birdman-esque shot. I know I'm saying that as if Birdman had came up with it, the long-ass, giant-ass long shot. And I know, no, wait a minute, the rope started. Fine, you freaking assholes, fine, rope shot. So we begin with a rope shot of zooming in on the Day of the Dead celebration, where, we see this man in a skull mask and a top hat, and we're like, oh, is this James Bond? No, it's not. That other guy is. That's James Bond. The other guy in a skull mask and a top hat. Yes, so he's dressed up like Baron Simaday, and a whole bunch of Baron Simadays here. Wait a minute, that's a Cajun deity, or a Haitian deity, but that's okay, us Americans, or well, not me American because I'm a Canadian, but Americans love their Jesus, and he's not American. No, he immigrated from the Middle East, I think. Ironic. But anyway, so yes, so anyway, hopefully I didn't offend anyone with that. Oh god, I only just started talking about it and I already probably just got flagged. Okay, so anyway, so yes, so he's just like Baron Simaday, and he's about to, knock up this woman, and, but then the woman is like, wait a minute, am I an important character in this movie? And James Bond is like, nope, see you never, ever again. So he walks out of his room, and he continues the long-ass shot. That's a continuous shot. I mean, yes, it probably has, like, a edit or two, but anyway, but screw you, of course it has edits. What are they, freaking gods? Godly movies. If they had god powers, they wouldn't be making movies, okay? So anyway, so he ends the long ass shot by being about to shoot this guy, and he does, but he misses, and for some reason that activates the entire building to freaking explode. And so he runs into the crowd to see if he can catch this skull mask man who was copying him. How dare he? Although there are a whole bunch of skull mask top hat men out there. So anyway, so he continues walking throughout the big ass Day of the Dead celebration. And I just keep thinking, well, why are these people continuing to celebrate when a building just freaking exploded? So anyway, so a helicopter comes out of nowhere and is about to take the skull mask man away. I don't think he has a skull mask anymore. Nope, he's no longer the skull mask man. Now he's just some guy that James Bond wants to get rid of or kill. Yes, so James Bond decides, hey, it's about time we get an action sequence, since this is what the James Bond franchise is known for. I'm gonna freaking fight him on this helicopter. So he jumps into the helicopter with the man, and he fights him in the helicopter, and the helicopter gets all whirly and drunk every which way, and people are like, oh shit, oh man, if they crash, that means there's more death to celebrate. Yay, Day of the Dead. And so James Bond throws out the pilot of the helicopter, and then he throws out the man, and he's like, yes, I did it. But wait a minute, I'm still gonna crash. But anyway, he gains control of the helicopter because apparently James Bond has been trained to be able to drive any and all types of vehicles under the face of the earth, apparently. Even stick shift. Yes, even that. And so, he helicopters away, but then he notices something. He notices that the man who he killed left something. He left a ring with an octopus on it. And that's what brings us into the title sequence of the movie. It's very rare to still have title sequences at the beginning of movies. Usually we have them at the end of them now. Yes, it is a very rare thing to do, but this is a tradition with James Bond films, so they're gonna keep it, okay? They're gonna keep the sacred tradition of keeping the elaborate, title sequences at the beginning of the movie. This is something they've done since the very beginning, back at the very first film, that was really weird because it ended with with this weird silhouettes of these three old guys, and they were walking to the Three Blind Mice song. Yeah, I never forgot that. But anyway, yes. So now with each James Bond film, they sort of like to follow a particular theme with their title sequences. I don't want to talk about all of them because if I did, by the time I would be done, this video would be at the length of a normal video, with the review already done, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to talk about the title sequences of this era, of Daniel Craig's era. So first we've got the Casino Royale sequence, which had the theme of poker and gambling and whatnot, poker symbols and whatnot, which very much fit the film. Then we got the title sequence for the second film, which was sand. Really weird, like desert sand. Yeah, and bunch of giant-ass naked women coming out of the sand. Yes, just when you thought I was done talking about Titans, they pull me back in. Yes. So anyway, the theme for that one, for Quantum of Solace, was sand. And then the theme for the third one, Skyfall, appropriately enough, was falling things, shit falling into water. Yes, shit falling into water was the theme of the third for Skyfall. That was the theme for that one. Stuff falling, and it's apparently water, even though stuff is happening in there that would not exist underwater in that way. But anyway, so that was the theme for that one. And then we had the theme for this one. And so what is the theme now? We've done gambling, we've done sand, we've done stuff falling into water. What is there left to do? Well, the answer is octopuses. Yes, octopuses. Of course, and the reason why is because this movie does something very notable. And of course, people can already tell that, hardcore James Bond aficionados can tell that by the title of the film, Spectre. Yes, Spectre is a very famous organization in the classic movies. They're the supervillain organization that's against Bond, that, orchestrate all the evil stuff against Bond. I think in every film, maybe, or maybe not. I don't freaking know. I'm only familiar with this era. Sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, freaking tase me, bro. Yeah, but what was weird was that it seemed like they were replaced by Quantum in this era. Yes, that seemed to be the case, that Quantum was the organization in the first two of this era, but then it seems as though that this movie reveals that it was actually a subsidiary of Spectre. Yes, it was Spectre the whole time. And you see, since everyone was afraid that, this series would never do Spectre, the filmmakers decided to be like, oh yeah, you want Spectre, huh? Oh, we'll give you Spectre. We'll be all the way in your face about it with this one. We're gonna show Spectre every friggin' where, and we're just gonna, and since, the logo for Spectre is an octopus, we're just gonna have the entire title sequence of this film just be friggin' octopuses all the friggin' time. Here's an octopus over here, here's an octopus over there, octopuses everywhere. And clearly, when they were making that title sequence, clearly they must have thought to themselves, gee, man, we are gonna get a lot of jokes on the internet about this regarding tentacle hentai. A lot of people are gonna be like, oh, I've seen enough tentacle hentai to see where this is going. Yeah, so clearly they knew they were walking into that with this because, there's all these scenes of naked women being caressed by tentacles, and a couple are also being caressed by James Bond, and, And so, yes. So, not only do we get octopus orgies, but also the title sequence also gives us scenes from the previous movies. Yes, previous scenes. Yes, reminding us stuff that I already reminded you just now, so I don't have to talk about them anymore. And they even show stuff that's in this movie already. I'm like, the Jesus Christ movie, spoilers, jeez. Ugh. And I thought the Mission Impossible movies were, had a problem with spoiling their own movies. But this movie does too, apparently. But they don't reveal too much, just that apparently Christoph Waltz is Dr. Octopus. But anyway, judging by that title sequence. But anyway, so now that they're done, with their sexualness with octopi, with a giant ass octopi, now that the Kraken has been sexually pleased, it's time to begin the movie. For reals. So the movie starts the way they all friggin' start, apparently, with James Bond's boss. I almost said James Boss's Bond. Whoopsie doodle doo. James Bond's boss, firing him, or at least suspending him. Like, hey, you did a bad, horrible thing, very bad. No, James Bond, no, bad, James Bond. No. You're being suspended. And I'm like, oh, great. Isn't this how every James Bond movie starts, with him being suspended? Anyway, so we reunite with previous characters that have been introduced throughout these movies. And, reintroduced, I should say. And one of them was Monty Penny, the secretary lady. And of course, I know people are might be like, ugh, why do they have to make the woman the secretary? Well, she does other things in this movie too, like a counseling Bond about her, about his problems and whatnot. And also, she did a lot of shit. She did a lot of on the job stuff, or on the field stuff in the previous movie too, and it also explained why she switched to having a desk job, because she decided, like, yeah, screw it, I almost killed James Bond, whatever. So anyway, so after almost killing James Bond reveals to her that, oh, by the way, that was the previous movie. Not in this one, she almost kills James Bond. In this one, she finds out from James Bond the reason why he killed that guy was because the previous M told him to. The Judi Dench M. The one who died at the end of the previous movie because of Javier Bardem being an asshole. She, before she died, she conveniently left a message for Bond, almost like, sort of like Spock in Wrath of Khan, in a way, where she's like, hey James Bond, I forgot, before I die at the end of this movie, I need to give you some sequel bait. So here's the sequel bait. You need to kill a guy and go to his funeral. So he kills him just so he can go to his funeral. And that makes a lot of sense. You can't go to a person's funeral unless they die. So, so it makes sense to kill him. Because, you can't go to someone's funeral if they're alive. So he goes to his funeral, and before he does, he steals some shit from Q. Q, who, as introduced in the previous film, is a lot hotter and sexier than he usually is. Usually he's like a bumbling little old man who has his inventions and his cookie inventions. But in this one, he's a hot, sexy hipster. He's a hot, sexy nerd hipster man. And he's all like, oh, I'm sexy. Oh, but I don't feel sexy. Oh, no wonder everyone keeps drawing slash fiction of you and me, James Bond. Oh, I'm sexy. Oh, by the way, here's your gadgets, the stupid gadgets. Now, excuse me, I need to prep some gadgets for 009. Oh, doesn't that sound interesting, audience? Wouldn't you want to see who 009 is, for all you curious audiences? Well, screw you, because I can't show you him because James Bond stole the shit I was going to give to him. So, James Bond travels to the funeral of the guy he killed, and he meets, his widow, and he's like, hi, widow, I'm an insurance agent, I guess. I'm gonna follow you home now like a creepy McCreep creep. So he goes to her home, and he's like, hey, I'm not the only creepy McCreep here. There's these two other guys who's trying to kill you, so I'm gonna kill them. A bangity bang. And speaking of bangity bang, let's bang right now. So they do it. And of course, that's what James Bond is known for. He's known for sleeping with women, even at the most inappropriate of times, because that's how he is. He was created a long ass time ago, and and for some reason we're still not offended by it because we're like, oh, James Bonds will be James Bonds. But anyway, I won't hold that against him because he's James Bond. James Bonds will be James Bonds. Like I said. But anyway, so yes, what happens is that after he's done bumping the uglies with her, and I just realized something, like, wow, this is the first time James Bond is like banged someone, at least in this era, where it's someone actually older than him, because usually he's like banging these 20-something-year-olds, like, all these women who are like significantly younger than him. But then they were like, nah, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's shake things up, not stir them up, but shake them up, and let's have an older woman with Bond. And so she's like, okay, now that I've had sex with you, apparently I'm no longer important to this movie. And James Bond is like, yep, now I'm gonna give you over to Felix, the American guy from the first two James Bond, from the first two films of this era that I forgot about, but not enough to not mention him. So I'm gonna mention him so that the audience can know that, yeah, we still know he exists in this era. We're just not gonna show him. So bye. I'm gonna use your information you gave me to tell a man that I'm Mickey Mouse for some reason over this secret hideout that you gave me the information, older lady. So he goes to that hideout, because the information she got from her is that he got from her. Whoops, I'm very hard at pronouns. Yeah, like hell you are. Maybe I should take over the ropes. Okay, fine. If you think you can do any better, yeah. So they go to this hideout, or he goes to the hideout because she gave her the information that he was a part of an organization, and so so she tells her the location of their next meeting, and so they go to the meeting. And it's this giant, big-ass meeting, this almost like boardroom meetings of all these international people of this very secret society. Yes, a secret society that is very hard to get into, except they're not, because apparently all James Bond has to do is say he's Mickey Mouse and he's in. So apparently it's the Illuminati. Yes, he's a part of the Illuminati now. And so so he sees all these people talking about business stuff, boring ass business stuff. But then in comes this mysterious, shadowy figure. Ooh, who is this shadowy figure? Christoph Waltz. Yes, I know that, but we're not supposed to think that in the movie. We're all like, oh, who's this? And so Christoph Waltz, waltzes into this movie, and he's like, oh yes, I am the mastermind behind everything, and I am going to order Drax the Destroyer from the Guardians of the Galaxy film to kill one of these guys. And so Drax comes in, and he is under the guise of Mr. Hinks. Yes, Drax the Batista is in this movie, playing a character very reminiscent of classic James Bond henchmen villains. Yes, the henchmen. A very important staple of the villainy of James Bond. Very important staple. He's not exactly, a straight-up adaptation of one of them, like of Lockjaw or the Hat Man, or the Knife Leg Lady. I don't remember a Knife Leg Lady. Oh, that's right. I think that's from one of my visions that I keep having. One of my past lives that I keep having memories of. Yes, that's probably that. But anyway, yes. He's more of being an homage to those characters. Ugh. Speaking of homages, I'm getting a headache from all this memories I'm having. Oh, maybe you should lay down. Yeah, I should probably lay down. No, screw you. I'm gonna stay up here. Okay. So anyway, yes. So Mr. Hinks uses his giant ass thumbs. Apparently that he's grown the nails of. I don't know why he's not called like Mr. Thumbs then, Mr. Thumby Thumberton. And uses them to squish the eyeballs of this member because apparently he pissed off Christoph Waltz for some reason, and Christoph Waltz is like, yes, I recognize you, James Bond. And then they all look to James Bond and he's like, oh shit, they realize that I'm not Mickey Mouse. Oh no! Oh, so he gets the fuck out of there. He gets into his into his modern car, not the classic car, that's later. And he gets into his modern car and he gets the fuck out of there, but Mr. Hinks chases him. And Mr. Hinks is like, I am reminiscent of classic villains even though I'm not one of them. I am going to kill you, James Bond, if it's the last thing. Oh, you already died because you're in the middle of the harbor of wherever this is, or one of the lube, the water lube, or whatever the hell it is. Bye, James Bond! But no, James Bond survived because of a parachute that no one conveniently noticed. But then James Bond realizes something. He's like, wait a minute. Wait just 1 minute. I think I know that guy. He seems familiar. So he takes out an old picture of him and his old buddy that he used to be friends with during childhood, and he tells Q on the walkie-talkie or whatever the hell. He's like, "Hey Q, look up Hans Ubenhoser." And we're like, wait a minute, Ubenhoser? That's who Christoph Waltz is? But with all this big setup they have that he's this mastermind of this whole organization, it seemed like he was kind of like I don't know, a classic James Bond villain. I'm trying to put my finger on who it is. I think I know who it is. Yes, and I think I know who it is as well now. Yeah, Dr. Evil. Wait, I thought it was Blofeld. Yes, Blofeld, yes, why would it be Dr. Evil? Yes, Blofeld. It's Blofeld, the most recognizable, most iconic of the James Bond villains. He's been a recurring villain throughout all of the eras, maybe not all of them, like I said before, I'm only familiar with this era, but I know that, we have not seen him yet in this era of James Bond films. So I thought that could be him. They might be setting up that Hans Ubenhauser is just a guise for a disguise for him. Maybe he really is Blofeld. Well, the thing with that is that if it is, isn't that really a big cliche now? I mean, they did that with They did that with Ra's al Ghul. They did that with Khan. With Wrath of Khan, they gave him a fake name just to review. Like, nope, it's Khan. Why do they keep doing that? If they do it here, I mean, it would be really cool. Like, finally we get Blofeld in all his righteous glory. But at the same time, they keep doing this. They keep giving us a switcheroo. Like, oh, you think it's a made-up character, even though you believe that it's a villain that we're actually using. Well, guess what? You're right! Which means that we shouldn't have done this in the first place if you were just gonna guess it correctly anyway. But anyway, oh, I said that twice. Yes. So anyway, up 3 times. James Bond is like, wait a minute. This guy, whoever this mysterious man is, who is a part of this Spectre or whatever the hell. I don't think he finds out it's Spectre yet. Yes, I know. He doesn't find that out until later. But anyway, he realizes, wait a minute, this must have been what Quantum was working for. And I remember a recurring antagonist from the first 2 movies that I interrogated that disappeared in the middle of the second movie that I interrogated about this. He was in cahoots with the people who killed the naked chick from the from those two Frank Miller sequel films. I need to give him a call. So he gives him a call, and then he realizes, wait a minute, I don't do that. I go to the people. So he goes to the secret hideout of Mr. White. Apparently, is that character. So he goes to Mr. White. Apparently, he is a game piece for Clue, and he goes to Mr. White. And Mr. White is all burly now. He's all crotchety with his beard, and he's like, "What is it, James Bond? You again? I thought I lost you in the second movie. I thought I could hide during the third movie and I'd be safe, but nope, you got me in the fourth one. God damn it!" And then James Bond is like, "You're goddamn right. God damn it! You need to tell me about Spectre." So Mr. White is like, yes, it turns out that the organization that I was working for in the first two films actually is in cahoots with Spectre. We just called it Quantum because we didn't want to, because I guess we didn't have the legal rights for that for that property yet, movie-wise. But now that we do, yes, I'm just going to review it with you like, yes, it was Spectre the whole time. Just like how Spider-Man existed in the Marvel Universe the whole time, you just didn't know until Marvel had the legal rights to do it. So anyway, so now that I've told you this, you're gonna leave me the fuck alone, right? And then James Bond is like, "No, because I found out you had a daughter." And he's like, "Oh, okay, okay, fine. Well, I guess that means there's even more of a reason why I should die, because now you need to protect my daughter. Okay, bye, I'm going to kill myself. Yay, I'm finally out of this franchise." Yes, so after all this time, after all the time we knew Mr. White, he is dead. And now that he is dead, James Bond is like, now I have to interrogate his daughter. Maybe he'll be a potential love interest. Hey, just because she's female doesn't mean he has to hook up with her. I think you're forgetting who this is. This is James Bond we're talking about. Oh, right. I forgot. I forgot that it's supposed to be normal for him to do that. Yeah, yes, it's just stupid when other people do it. So anyway, So he goes up to the snowy Alps with Q, because Q has to be like, yes, I am still sexy and young, and people are continuing to make slash fiction of us. And James Bond is like, oh, okay, fine, whatever, enjoy your slash fiction. I'm going to talk to the daughter of Mr. White. And that daughter is let me see if I can get her friggin' name, Dr. Swan. So Mr. White's daughter is a goose, and he interviews with the goose because she's like a therapist or something, or counselor, because this is like a retreat where people go for counseling and relaxation and, you know, unwinding and deal with their problems. And James Bond is like, hey, I'm gonna reverse this and switch the tables, because I'm gonna ask you some questions. Your father is freaking dead, okay?